Hi, I'm Dr. Gaby Cora, and welcome to my show, Dr. Gaby's Take, Make Life Interesting. We have about 1.2 million people in the United States who are HIV positive, but only 1 out of 5 doesn't know that he or she may be infected. What do you think keeps people from even getting tested?
Stigma. Unfortunately, I would say, because there's huge campaigns all over the country about testing. We need to get people, we want people to get tested. It is important to get to know your status.
So is it thinking, oh, I'm sure that I'm okay?
Yeah. But the problem again is that many people said, okay, why would I like to know that I'm HIV positive if there is such a huge stigma and discrimination? Remember that stigma and discriminations violate every human right. The right to health, the right to work, the right to live. So people, they said, okay, here's, I can get tested, however, there's this, huge misperception about this disease. And no one should be dying of AIDS in the United States. Unfortunately, if you go to every single hospital, there's always someone dying of AIDS. But they're not dying because of the disease itself. They're dying of the worst opportunistic infection that they could have, that is the social opportunistic infection, the stigma of the disease.
Tell me a bit more about the stigma for the disease. What have you seen in your work throughout all these years, and maybe even a shift in terms of the stigma from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or what you see now?
Well, as an economist, and sometimes I like to play with charts, I keep saying, okay, 1981, when this whole thing started, let's do a graph looking for research and development. So it's an upward trend from no medication whatsoever 30 years ago to over 30 different types of combinations, medications and combinations. That is wonderful, major breakthroughs, right? And then the other curve, it'll be the stigma, which was very high in the x-axis, and it should have been going down as we learn more about the disease, right? Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. The curve has had a very slow downturn and then almost stagnated because people are still as ignorant, not as 30 years ago, but probably as 20 years ago.
So do you think the stigma is kind of the same among age groups, or do you see a difference in the way that this stigma, the curve, like you were mentioning, it's plateaued, but is there any difference in the perception from the different generations, gender?
My personal experience is in actually educating so many audiences all over the country has been that the older generations, for older generations, it's more difficult to understand and to actually get to learn and see the disease in another way.
So the myths are more ingrained.
Exactly, with all the generations. And also, but I see the big difference with the younger crowd, kids, adolescents, and the young people in their 20s. They know more about the disease than their parents do, which is good. That is something that that's something that really gives me energy to keep on educating. However, another big problem is, okay, many kids, there's some type of fatigue about this disease. We've been talking about HIV/AIDS for the past 30 years. For many years, there was all these huge educational campaigns. Hollywood was helping, actually, all these celebrities was they were helping to educate people, but then it has been like some type of fatigue. It's like, there's nothing else, there's nothing new. And that is very unfortunate because still the numbers of individuals infected in the United States, last year there were over 55,000 people infected, and the trend still is the same. People are getting infected as we speak, which is very sad.
And more people are getting infected too, and there may have been even some shifts, some demographic shifts about the infections.
Especially here in the United States, we've seen a big shift toward the heterosexual community, especially African American community and the Latino community. Big change. And within the country, African Americans have been disproportionately affected. It's like 52% of new cases are among African Americans. And then Latinos, we're coming next.